Second pour.
Second pour!
Right now, right?
Let's do it!
Today we're gonna have Pop's famous brand whiskey.
All right, let's do it.
Right after this.
Welcome to Second Pour. I am Zane.
And I'm not Zane, I'm Jeff.
Thanks for reminding me that you're not me.
I know, sometimes we drink too much and forget who we are.
Because we're not going to pretend like it's not in the morning and it's not Friday.
Yeah, it's something like that. So today we're gonna have, believe it or not, a Canadian whiskey. Or are we?
Probably not. But let's...
What we having?
Okay, it's Pop's.
Pop's famous brand?
Pop's famous brand whiskey.
Blended Canadian whiskey.
God, it's so technical.
I mean, there's so much stuff going on with this whiskey.
That's
You
about
figure this must be
right.
the most complicated whiskey in America. Right?
Well, it's about time we pour it up.
It's about time. Let me pour some up.
So, pour me this Canadian whiskey.
So it is a Canadian whiskey, but
Is it?
but kind of not. But it kind of is.
Yeah.
You know, I heard the other day that when you have Canadian whiskey, right?
Right.
That if any of the whiskey comes from Canada but is done somewhere else, it still has to say product of Canada.
Is that some legalese from Canada, or is that forced through on the United States?
I'm pretty sure it's some legalese from Canada,
I don't see no product
but
of
I
Canada
don't see
on that.
it says imported, and it does say distilled and aged under Canadian government supervision.
Okay, all right.
So they're like, hey, that barrel there, it's not big enough, okay? You need to get this barrels. It's a little bit larger. Maybe I have too much whiskey already.
I mean, I'm just trying to hold back and not do my Fargo accent.
Let's hear your Fargo
no,
accent.
I'm not, because, that's not Canadian.
It is too.
Yeah,
It's close to Canada.
It's close,
I mean,
but it
it's
doesn't
button
count.
right on it. It's like Canada's butthole.
Yeah.
Did I just say that North Dakota is Canada's butthole?
You shouldn't say that.
That's not nice.
You're going to edit that out, right?
I'll have to edit that
You
out.
have to edit that out and all
Fine.
the references to Pine Sol.
Or will I?
We've poured this up.
Okay, so Pop's famous brand, they are purchasing barrels
Yeah.
from Canada, rye and corn whiskey.
And then they finish it where?
They bring it all the way back down here to Texas, and they make it in Austin,
Austin, Texas. Yeah.
where they will put it in, I think, a bourbon barrel and finish it. And
Yeah.
then they blend it, they finish it in bourbon barrel, and they bottle it in this neat little bottle. Now, there's a neat story behind this.
Right.
So this companies, let's say their great-grandfather or grandfather was from Spain. He showed up over here right around Prohibition time. So the only whiskey people were drinking back then
It's
was
Canadian.
illegal Canadian whiskey. So he has a fond memory of, having Canadian whiskey. So I guess when they opened a restaurant, there was always this bottle in the back that always had Pop's name on it.
Like a hand-labeled thing, right?
Yeah,
Or something
hand
like-
labeled like a masking tape kind of
Yeah.
deal. And so it has memories. Anything special happened in their family, they would pull Pop's bottle down, which was Canadian whiskey,
Yeah.
and they would drink it.
Yeah.
So they thought, how do we honor Pop's? We'll make him a whiskey.
Which is
It's kind of cool.
That's
so
dope. Pretty
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a neat way. That's a neat reason to make whiskey, right?
Yeah,
To
for sure.
honor somebody who you love. I mean, now here's this part where it gets kind of ugly. Do we like this whiskey or do we not? So I guess we have to do that.
All right.
So let's smell this thing.
So it's very smooth on the nose, not like a whole lot of punch in my face kind of thing.
Now, the interesting thing that even on their website, don't even list tasting notes.
Oh,
So
well then.
we are like blind. We are blind, buddy. There's no reviews on this online.
All right. Well, then let me tell you.
There's nothing at the website. So we could literally be setting the bar for these guys right now. So
And
we
here
need
on
to be-
Second Pour, us as experts are
We're not experts.
taking it on the chin so that you can know whether or not you should jump in on this.
Now, I will tell you, it's oily. Look how it just kind of sticks to that glass.
Or does it? Yeah,
It does. It coats it, right?
Yeah, it sure does. It
doesn't
coats
have,
it
It doesn't
so
have that
well.
leg thing going.
Yeah, it coats it so well it doesn't look like it was on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it coats, so it's oily, so it's got a little bit of tan in there. So I can smell,
I smell vanilla.
a lot of vanilla, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of that in there.
A lot of vanilla, a little bit of caramel, and even a little bit of corn.
Yeah.
And the rye spice, if there's a lot of rye in it. Now, here's the thing. Something I learned about Canadian whiskey. Canadian whiskey is a rye whiskey, but it doesn't require a lot of rye to be a rye whiskey.
Just have
It
to
can
have
be a
some.
small percentage of rye and be a rye whiskey. Now here's the thing. Let me clarify before we go any further. This whiskey is 42% ABV.
Yeah.
It's at 84 proof. It is, like we said, it's bottled in Austin, Texas. It's only $30.
Only $30.
It's a very affordable budget whiskey.
But this is a 3-year aged.
Canadian whiskeys requires is a 3-year age, so it's at least 3 years.
So we have that in there, and
now based on that, it's a really easy drink.
Yeah, it's smooth, and simple.
It's very light, right? It's light on the palate. It's light on the nose. We're getting a little bit of caramel, a little bit of corn, some vanilla.
Yeah.
It's not complicated.
No,
it's not complicated. But does all whiskey have to be complicated to be enjoyable?
Oh, no. And that's just the difference in palate choices, too. There's people that, they'll never drink a 120 proof.
Right.
That's like drinking gasoline to them.
So say a whiskey noob came into the room.
Yeah.
And they picked up this $30 bottle of whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think they would think about it?
That they would probably find this more favorable.
Why?
Because first of all, the finish is quick.
Quick, right?
Even though it looks to be oily, it slides off the back end pretty quick. And it's not too hot. And it's just not overpowering as far as any kind of the harsh flavors or something like that stuff you get from some other whiskeys.
I agree with you. I think this would be one of those whiskeys that if you're an entry-level new whiskey drinker and you're trying all kinds of new stuff, this is one of those ones that won't slap you in the face and make you feel like you have no clue what you could pull the flavors out of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's
get down to business.
Let's get down to brass tacks.
So we have a 5-finger tops rating 6.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, all whiskey is whiskey, so everything should be within that range. 5s are our unicorns, or those ones that it's the fine for us personally.
We tend to smile a lot on a 5.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say this one for me, pretty straightforward, is easy, a 2-finger.
Yeah.
I won't turn this down. I would. Again, it's really cool to have this.
Yeah.
And again, my rating goes into my preferences. I like stuff that kicks me in the balls.
You tend to lean toward barrel proof and cask strength, stuff like that, right? Now I think if I measured this from a noob standpoint. This is like, you probably think this is some really good whiskey.
This would be a 3-finger for sure if you were in that level, or where
And that's kind of where I'm trying to measure it for myself. Is like, this is a 2 to 3 finger whiskey.
Yeah,
it's not a bad. We've had some bad whiskeys.
Mellicorn.
We've had it. So this is
all those Mellicorn lovers like, I hate that guy.
I hate that guy.
I'm the guy you'd love to hate.
So this is somewhere between a 2. So I don't think I've ever given a 2.5 to a whiskey.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna give it a 2.5. I want to give it a 3, but I know there's better whiskey out there.
Yeah.
But I also know this is a young whiskey.
Right.
They're just getting started, and I think it's worth the $30.
Well, it's not like I wasn't jumping on your bandwagon for what you said. I was gonna try to say 2.5, but last time I did a half score, I made fun of you. Yeah, right.
Well, you started the half score thing, so I'm gonna go with it.
It's because what I'm getting with.
So are we saying both 2.5?
It's 2.5. It's good enough. It's like, I don't want to say 3-finger yet, because that extra half is me accounting that I realize like what my personal tastes are.
Yeah, and I think
I'm adding a little extra to it because it's better than what my personal tastes say.
And it's hard when you're doing whiskey reviews, right?
Yeah.
You have your palate.
Yeah, and
everybody's palate is subject to your palate. And so, but I think if I measure it based on what it is and not measure it based on what I want.
Yes.
I think this is a pretty decent whiskey.
I mean, good job, guys. This is good. Yeah, it's real good.
So, if you haven't had Pop Shed, I say go out and grab it.
I would too. I would too. Price point, I mean, with today's whiskey market,
$30 is a budget whiskey, dude.
Yeah, and it's kind of a craft whiskey at this point, really.
It is a craft whiskey. They are not distilling it, so they're buying barrels and bringing it, and they're very clear about it. I mean, think about this.
Yeah, they're not making it up like this is ours all the way through.
So that's impressive too. They're being really upfront and honest about where this whiskey's coming from. So that's a big deal too. You don't see that a lot. How many guys that craft tell you? Yeah. Not all of them do that. Oh, in the meantime, you guys continue to be cool this week.
And cheers up. I don't even know if that's a phrase.
Cheers up?
Where everybody knows your name.
In the meantime, you guys continue to be cool. We'll see you next week. How you got a whiskey?
I can't even cheers.